probably about 1969, and I went to work. I'm an accountant, and I had graduated from college, and I went to work for a small CPA firm in Reno, Nevada. I had a book sitting on my desk that I was starting to read, and one of the partners in the law firm walked by my desk and saw that book, and he said, "If you like that book, I have another one that I will loan you that you'll like even better." And he loaned me Stranger by the River. And that person turned out to be somebody who, at that time, now we're talking decades ago, was very high up in the Eckankar organization. He had been in and studied under Paul Twitchell for a long time. And so I read that book and I liked it. He gave me a couple of others. As I read, and these are my first things that I was reading in Eckankar, I came across explanations of things that Paul Twitchell wrote about that made so much sense to me from the point of view of Eckankar. Wow, that's what this is. And I understood. I was very intrigued by reading passages like that that sparked my interest and created a reaction in me that just felt good. In 1970, I visited the first satsang class that was being taught in Reno by this gentleman. And satsang it's where we come to study the study materials that are provided by Eckankar. Then when he started the next class, I joined that class. It was very interesting though when I headed to that first class, because I was living in Sparks at the time, which is a community that's just adjacent to Reno. That night that I was going to attend my first class, I drove around in my car for probably an hour, sobbing my eyes out, and I didn't know why I was crying. It wasn't crying because I was sad. I think, looking back on it, it was tears of joy, because I was finally going to start on the path that I was meant to be on in this lifetime. We just know that something's happening, and this is what we're supposed to be doing. I went to that first class, met some people who, a couple of them, I've just remained friends with my whole adult life. I mean, that was back in the early 70s, and here it is, 2025. Oh my gosh. I always was brought back to the truths that I was learning about and studying about through the Eckankar writings. It felt like I had come home. And I know that people know what that feels like when they've been on a long journey, but this felt so much like home and so right for me. Life is all about choices. Every day, whether to do this or to do that. Had worked most of my life. I worked in public accounting for a while, which was where I found out about Eckankar. Then I worked on my own for a little while, and then went to work for the state of Nevada and spent 28 years there and retired from the state of Nevada. I kind of always knew that I was sort of being trained for something, being prepared for something. And then after I retired from the state of Nevada, I worked for a short while as the financial advisor. That was a different path for me, and that was not easy. I worked with people and talking through what their goals were in their life and that sort of thing. But then I went to an Eckankar seminar. I said to a friend of mine that I was with, if I had the opportunity, I would really love to work at the Eckankar office. Now this was in Minneapolis. He said, well, let's go look at the bulletin board. Well, lo and behold, there was an accounting position being advertised. So I put in my application, went for an interview, and sure enough, they wanted me to come there. What the Eckankar office is like it's a distribution center, and they work with the master. He writes the books, but they work to help publish and get all that set up and get them all printed. And then there's a big warehouse downstairs, and we ship books out all over the world and discourses all over the world. The leader of Eckankar is the Living Ek Master. He's the current head of Eckankar. He's the one who gives talks and writes books and communicates the spiritual principles, reminds us what the spiritual principles are all the time. There's an inner side to him, which is called the Mahanta consciousness. That inner side is with all people all the time. The Temple of Ek is in Chanhassen in Minnesota. So the Temple of Ek is there, as well as the Eckankar Spiritual Center, which is the kind of the business hub. Just like any typical business would, where you're really trying to do the best job that you can and do a thorough job and, take care of what's needed in any kind of a business setting. So we were able to attend classes at the temple and do the jobs that needed to be done there. It was a wonderful opportunity for me because it really connected me to that inner side, to the Mahanta. The students of Eckankar, which we call Chelas, they are aware of his presence, and they take the time to do spiritual exercises every day. When you sing a mantra, we sing what's called a word it's H-U, Hu, and we do that every day because we connect with that spiritual side of ourselves every day. The Mahanta consciousness is available to all people. It resides on the inner worlds where all people exist. We are souls living in a body. As soul, we have a connection that's at the soul level, that's in the inner worlds. And that's where we have this connection with what I'm saying is the Mahanta consciousness. My time at Eckankar, working in Chanhassen, the word I'm thinking of is solidified that connection, but solid isn't what I mean, because none of this is solid. Everything is very fluid and very changeable based on what we're going through and what we're experiencing at the time. When we come into this lifetime, we decide before we come into this lifetime what we want to accomplish spiritually, what we want to accomplish to work out our path to make it back to God. We're born into this lifetime and we go through school and we have relationships with people in and out of our lives, and sometimes we can kind of lose track of what that goal is that we're looking for in this lifetime. By doing our spiritual exercises, we can reconnect, and we also start to shed some of the karma or debris we've picked up along the way in other lifetimes and in this lifetime. And so we begin to be able to see what is pure, truly soul and what soul needs to understand. While I was there, he wasn't in the office. I did have a chance to meet him one time. It was actually in a local grocery store. And I just ran into him and met him there. Actually, I felt very calm. It wasn't something that I got really excited about. It just felt like that was the next step. That was my time to be able to meet him. And we don't all have to meet him in the physical, because we have that inner connection by doing our spiritual exercises. It's more than just doing our spiritual exercise, because for me now, Eckankar is it's a way of living my life.